Hey there, Technomancers, and welcome to another happening here at Hack the Hologram. Kayla got to sit down with Apple Gule this week, and the conversation has been inspiring. If you're not familiar, Apple is a rising star in the South African scene, originally from Swaziland. And because of his incredible hits, he's gotten to work with many great producers, including the names of Carl Watson, Crazy White Boy, and Black Coffee himself. His talent is constantly expanding, but his story is so homegrown. So let's find out what's happening with Apple.
We've all been waiting and the tension has been building. You don't know much about him because he's quite the mystery. Born in a small town in Swaziland with a big dream, he dropped out of varsity and straight into music school, after which he got signed by the famous label Soul Candy. He's brought out music that has become a staple in South Africa, as well as worked with international artists. It's happening now with Apelele, aka Apple Gule. Thinking about this interview, I know you've been prepping for like a week or so for it. What do you want to take away from it, and what do you want to leave behind for the people from this interview?
I don't know, man. I think it's just about telling a story. I guess the last interview I did, and interviews in general, always just to plug something and to always promote something and always to try, like, I guess, get some leverage off the interview to put it online and sell something. I think this time I just want to be honest and tell my story and sell myself.
Right now in your life, except for the interview, obviously, what's happening with you and around the family as well? I know you've been there not too long ago.
I'm in like a whole transition period where what I mean is that I'm learning that music is obviously one of the most important things to me, but I think what's more important is just being a good person. That's why I think I've been taking more time to figure out, family dynamics, make sure I know who my friends are, and those kind of things, which I think when the music thing is all, dead and buried, those people are going to be there forever, or as long as they are alive. Touch wood. So I think I'm just trying to forge relationships in the right ones as well. You know what I mean? So yeah, I'm in that kind of journey in my life at the moment. Realizing that music is obviously my passion, and it's important to me, but there's so much more important things out there that we have to kind of put time towards. No, honestly, so I think that the whole aura of just being home. So I come from a village called Engaba, which is like close to Pikes Peak, but it's like literally in the mountains. So when you go there, there's like no signal, no cell phone signal, there's nothing. So it's a proper getaway. And what's cool about it is that RIP to my grandmother, but the house she built this beautiful, safety net for us, where if anything is like fucking out, so in like life is tough, that's a place you can always go. No cell phone signal, whatever. Go chill there. You wake up in the morning, go herd cattle, fucking, just, you can literally do whatever you want to do in peace. And I think what's waiting there is just like, people are going to have your back regardless, no matter what. And I guess the peace factor. I think peace is super underrated. People don't understand how nice it is to be peaceful. You mentioned that you went to the farm and stuff. I think it's important that people go there and just get away from the rat race, as often as they can, because you just find this low level of re-energization, and then you're able to hit it again and go back. Yeah, I think the creativity comes from that piece, because our brains are always at 100 million kilometers an hour, and yeah, you can find creativity there too. We have to. It's what we do for a living, and creativity comes in many forms. But yeah, for sure, when you're back home, and you're just chilling and you're breathing in some good air, and you actually have no one always on you for a deadline or 100%, you then can just sit down and be like, okay, cool, what's important to me? And I think normally when you find that what's important to me, and you answer that question, then you can write a song about it, because you go like, okay, that's like now making sense. Yeah, exactly. It just almost like flows out of you as opposed to trying to force it. And I've learned that, in life in general, forcing anything never works.
Except for that one time that you told me another form of creativity that you found by force to write a song. I think it was
Oh my God, I'm actually going to tell you that story. Yeah. I'm talking about the Kyle Watson story.
Yes.
Kyle, I'm telling the story. I hope you see this one day. So yeah, when we wrote Solace, I think it was 2017. Kyle was about to go on tour, and I just kind of popped onto the scene, and he wanted to work with me. So I was like, fuck, this is cool. Kyle Watson. I was like, come on, let's get this boy. So he sent me this beat, and I was like, this is absolutely amazing. So now I was obviously trying too hard. I think I was trying to over-impress him or something like that. So I wrote the first version, I sent it to him. He's like, nah, bro, this is kind of whack. And I was like, what? Because obviously I thought I was shit hot. I thought I got this. Yeah, I was like, nah, man, I put in some work here. He was like, nah, bro, I think it sounds too forced. So I was like, okay, cool, it's all good, I got this. Wrote a second version. And he was like, nah, it's nice, but everything's nice, it's like it didn't resonate with him. And then I was like, no ways. So then he goes, dude, you know what, I'm going on tour, we can pick this up whenever I get back. So now I'm thinking, oh shit, have I just lost this opportunity? Have I just fucked this up so much? And then one day I was just like, I actually don't care. Fuck it, let me just write a song. If it doesn't like this next one, then I guess it wasn't meant to be. So then I remember I was at my parents' house even, I was sitting in the kitchen. And it was midnight, I think. And I wrote the song probably in 7 minutes or so. And I just recorded it and I sent him a voice note. And obviously because of the time difference, I think he was still awake or he was about to go to a show. And then he listens to it and he's like, bro, this is it. This is the one. And I'm like, what the fuck? And he's like, this is the one. I'm coming back to South Africa on, I think it was the Monday, because he was performing on a Saturday. As he lands, he's like, bro, can you make it to the studio tonight? I'm preparing. No, it was on the Friday before Ultra. That's what it was. Kid you not, I kid you not. So we recorded, and we just had the rough version of it. Must have been a 2-hour, 3-hour recording session. And then he tested it at Ultra the next day. The crowd went absolutely mad. He tested it at Ultra. I know, right? Talk about a test. Not testing it randomly at some club. And the crowd went mad, and I guess he gave me a shout. He was like, bro, I think we have something here. And then I guess the rest is history. I mean, it's still a song that I perform today as one of my closing songs for all my sets. And the crowd response is always the same. It's one of those songs I think because it's so honest and genuine, it works. And you're right, that's the creativity. Sometimes you just don't give a fuck anymore, and you just let go, let it come out of you. That's when you find some gems.
So with the form of creativity that you said you find in different places, some of your other songs, any interesting stories that you have with the creation of them?
I mean, you know what, I think at least the biggest songs I've ever released, I'm not talking about the ones that are just in the album or whatever, I'm talking about at least the big hits, if I can say that. I think I've been in the game long enough, I can say hits. Yeah, I think those are always the songs that I write from a place of a story that has actually happened, something that's real.
As it's happened, you think of it.
Because I think that's the most important thing about music, is if you tell a story, someone's going to relate to it. I mean, you're not trying to do it for everyone, because you can't, not everyone has been through the same thing you've been through or experienced what you've experienced. But I think if you write something that's honest and that is real, people are going to resonate. And I can give a simple example. There's a song I did with the Cassins, Cinnamon, good friends of mine, shout out Cinnamon, called Perfect. And I mean, that song even now when I perform it, it still slaps super hard. Yeah, everywhere. I mean, they still play it on 5FM, they still play it on all the radio stations, they play it everywhere. I mean, I still perform it. I'm gonna perform it this weekend. That wouldn't even make sense because no one knows when this is coming out. But yeah, I think the story behind that one as well is and I'll just make it a blanket statement. I wrote it as a metaphor for a lot of females who crave validation on Instagram, always looking for, I guess, the likes and the buttons to kind of boost their egos and make themselves feel important. And you know how many, not how many, every female is beautiful. You know what I mean? And looking for validation online can be toxic sometimes. It can be actually very dangerous, and I think it can actually make you more depressed. Even if you are the so-called 10 out of 10, you're always going to look for more likes. You're always going to look for more validation. Once you have 100 likes, and you go yes, and then you want 200, and then it just goes on and on and on. And I wrote Perfect for that reason. I just want to make sure that people understand that, dude, you're beautiful as you are, because I guarantee the people who are around you and who appreciate you find you beautiful as you are. You don't have to look for the fame through the Instagram likes and look for validation there. And I think it was just an ode to that. And that song, I think, also is one of the reasons why it resonates with so many people. Plus, also, it's a fucking banger, so I guess that also makes sense.
And with lyrics as well, I've heard that you also write some lyrics for other people.
Yeah, I've done that plenty of times. I mean, at the end of the day, the music business is the music business. You know, you have to obviously have the business aspect to it. But I think there, I still pick and choose who I write with. I won't just like write it just for a paycheck. I mean, as easy as that is, and it's obviously like, you know, the work, you want to make money. I still believe in the art. I still believe in the creativity and I guess the integrity behind the message of music. So I will sit down with a person who says, Apple, can you please write me a song? I'll sit down and be like, okay, cool. I'll first have a conversation. Something like this, where I need to get to know you. Yeah. So I can get you into your mindset. Yeah, so I can know what you want to say. Because if I write something from my perspective and you sing it, it might sound good because you have a good voice, but I guarantee you no one's going to believe it. Yeah, passion. Exactly, no one, because you're not singing it the way that I would sing it, for example. Because I wrote it for me. Exactly. And I think that's the most important thing. Get to know the story and get them to to open up. Get them to get a bit emotional. Get them to understand that, oh shit, almost like a therapy session for them. So they go like, okay, cool, damn. So that when they sing it, it's something that they actually meant. As opposed to just me writing my thing and giving you like a generic song, and then you sing it, and yeah, it'll sound cool. It might chart for like 1 or 2 weeks, but then people are gonna forget about it quickly. I mean, think about it this way, at least in my music, and I think for a lot of artists, those who are on the vocalist side of things, but also for producers and for DJs probably. But it is an outlet. It's its own therapy session. I mean, like there's things you're saying that you can now put on paper and put it into a song and put it on Apple Music and Spotify, and it's gonna live forever now, eh? And that's your diary. You put it out there. Yeah, you make yourself very vulnerable. But at the end of the day, like if you do it for the right reasons, then that vulnerability is so much more worth it because you've taken it off your chest, you know what I mean? And if you're helping other people go through it, I mean, it becomes worth it. Some other dude, let me tell you a crazy story. I went to this bar the one night, and I was chilling there. I went to go just support some friends, and some guy comes up to me, and he has a tattoo of sheet music on his arm. Like sheet music, a whole like, his whole arm. Yeah, literally. But it's all, you know, classical music, sheet music. He comes to me, he's like, dude, you changed my life. And I was like, what do you mean? He had the whole of Solace's sheet music on his arm. I know, trust me, when I saw that night, I actually I left the club. I couldn't breathe anymore. Because I was like, how do you now just party with this dude? Bought him a drink, gave him a hug. 7 minutes. Yeah, but it changed his life.
So, talking about worth it, I'm sure there are times that you just don't want to do anything, sleep the whole day or anything. What gets you? What keeps you going after, like, say, a week of going?
You know, I'd say, like, that's a good question. You know, the thing is, there's always that, like, end of the day, like, we're not robots. You're not a robot. No one is. And whatever you do, you have to take a break at some point. Even if you love it to death, you're always gonna give your all. And I think in giving your all, you exert yourself a bit too much sometimes, and you get tired after, like, you know, on tour, like for December, like that's coming up. You're going to be grafting for essentially almost every day for 3 weeks. You know what I mean? Which is amazing. It's a blessing. Don't get it twisted. I love it. But you do have to take a break sometimes. But I think sometimes what keeps you going, and what's like the biggest thing for me is, even if you had like a solid like 4-day back-to-back, minimal sleep, and you're in 5 different cities or whatever, is when you get onto that stage, right? And like, you know, let's say you've landed in Durban, and you go straight from the airport to the hotel. You've got 3 hours before the next gig, so you have a little nap, and you're actually just thinking, should I just maybe cancel it? I'll give them money back. I'm just so dead. Yeah. And yeah, you go like, no worries. You go, and then that first, hey, what's up guys? I'm Apple Gule, and you hear the crowd go like absolutely mad. Dude, your energy just goes to another level, and then you go, that's why I do it. Because they're gonna have a great time. I'm gonna end up having a great time. And
that
yeah.
shows in the voice as soon as you hear that. And
yeah, it's crazy how crazy the power of psychology is. You'll be super tired or whatever, and your voice will be croaky and you actually be like physically whatever. But as soon as the crowd goes like that, your voice comes back somehow. I don't know. You just find some other power. You have all the energy in the world, and you give like the best 35, 45 minute set you'll ever give, and you high fiving people, and then it's like, okay, cool, let's go. Where's the next one? No sleep, let's go, boy. No passion.
Oh no, that's insane. I just like honestly imagine that. Hopefully, this type of thing that I'm doing now as well, the reactions is gonna keep you going. So.
Oh yeah, man. Like I think this is so important. I think it's also like what I said from the beginning. Like it's to tell a story as to why we do this, as to like the understanding of like the whole process. Because like I think people just always see the end result. Like a song can take. Some songs can take 3 weeks to make. Some songs can take 3 months to make. Some songs can take a year to make, but it only lasts 3 minutes. So I want people to understand how much we put into it, so they understand that like when we're up there and we're giving it to you, this is not play. Like we mean this shit. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like
this
is
is
not
the
us.
actual job.
Yeah, this is not like it's not us. It's like doing it. Go, okay, cool. It's like good luck. It's like trust me, we put our blood, sweat, and tears into this, and I want people to understand that, so that when we give you our passion, give you our love, hopefully you give it back to us.
No, definitely. I think they do because the songs are getting everywhere. I hear the songs on friends' playlist now again. I'm like, oh,
Yes.
what a throwback.
Royalties, boy.
Yeah, get it. Yeah, help to this one as well.
Thank you.
Yeah. Talk more about the family in Swaz. So you grew up in Pretoria.
Nah, actually.
Oh, where did you grow up?
So I was born in a hospital called Hologram Hospital in Hlangana in Swaziland. So I'm born and bred Swati. Camera. There you go. So yeah, I'm proud of it. I'm proud of where I'm from. I try to rep Swaziland as much as I can. Eswatini.
The first album, I think.
Yeah, my debut album. It's called Swazi Kid. I want to make sure that like people know that that's home. And everything I pretty much do is one for family, and it's obviously, I guess, be the advertisement for Swaziland. And I think, yeah, people should know that. I remember my first kind of big single was In Your Life, a song called In Your Life. And Rob Forbes, shout out to Rob Forbes, he pretty much kind of made my whole career. He gave me my first kind of shot in Father FM. And he was the one who gave me the first opportunity to tell my story. He asked where am I from, what's my motivation. And yeah, it's always been the same. It's always been my home to show that like a boy from Engaba can, perform on world stages. I mean, I've been fortunate enough to travel and perform overseas. That's been great. And that's what I want to kind of like show, give people that kind of hope, and motivation. And I'm not even done. I'm I'm 31 and I feel like I've just started. And like, I believe in that power of manifestation because, I don't know, like once I've kind of gotten into this more focused on like relationships mindset, now other doors are open. Like it's because I think, like I said earlier, when you force, it doesn't work. But when you just let things happen the way they're supposed to happen, things start happening. And like I guess it's also the same with just where things are going now. I mean, I can't share everything right now, but I mean, I think 2024 is gonna be scrumptious. It's gonna be a good year.
Yeah, and after, and everybody would understand this one. After COVID or during COVID, it was a big knock. I heard you went back home for some introspection.
Yeah, man. Yeah. I mean, everyone, I guess, not just in the music industry, but I mean, obviously the music industry was heavily impacted because it was essentially illegal to go out. So you couldn't have shows. Entertainment was done. The hospitality industry was done. But I mean, listen, I'm not going to make this all about us. Everyone was obviously impacted. So it got to a point where it was like, yo, what am I going to do? What now? And I mean, they told us, 3 weeks? Fuck, the 3 weeks turned into 3 years. Yeah. So it was like, okay, cool. What am I doing this for? Is this my vocation? Is this what I have to do for the rest of my life? And you have those doubts. Everyone had doubts about what they were doing. But I think it was one of the best times in some weird way because it gave us like the great Control-Alt-Delete. Start again. And when I say start again, obviously, you were still in the industry and your name was still known. But it's now about how we're going to move forward. And you can't just do the same thing we did before. We have to adapt. And then you saw people who left the industry. You saw people new people came into the industry. It was like a whole reshuffling. and you saw people who stuck it through, who were like, nah, I can't live without music, or I can't live without entertainment. And going away and going back home, and having that time to go like, am I gonna stop this? Am I gonna try to find something else? And then I came back, I was like, nah, I need to do this. This is what I want to do. It's my passion. And it was a great help. It sucked. It sucked a hell of a lot. It sucked balls. But I think it helped so much in terms of my growth, my songwriting. There's so many silver linings to take out of it. So I have no regrets, and that's spelled with an A and a Z. No regrets at all about how it was. I mean, yeah, of course, everyone had writer's block in the beginning. Everyone had to adapt and try to do something else to hustle to make money. We had no shows, and there's no motivation to write music. But I think after you found that, after those first couple of months, and almost a year for me, when I realized that nah, I can't live without music. And that's when you go, okay, cool, motivation, let's go. Came back home, and I just started writing again. Started cooking.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
Picking up. And was this when you started writing the EP? Good.
Yeah, so I wrote the Sour EP during that time, but I had to get that out of my chest. I just wrote that, got it done, and I was like, okay, cool, what are the next steps? So I kind of did like a big reset. Like I changed a lot of who was around me, changed a lot of like where I was staying. I moved back to Joburg. I was in Joburg before, but at the time it happened, I was living in Pretoria. And then I just said to myself, okay, cool, let's refocus, let's re-energize, and let's make sure that the next 5 years we smash them. And there's none of the songs that I've ever released that I haven't been proud of. I've always just released a song because it's supposed to be, what the label wants as the new club hit or whatever. I think you have to say something. If you don't say something, then what the fuck is you must have a message, then you're just a piece of wood. You know what I mean? Like, and I think, to be honest with you, one thing I think it's also helped my longevity. I've been in the game since 2016 essentially, and during COVID I didn't release for almost 3 years, if you can count it properly. Okay, call it 2 years. And normally people can just like fall off and be like, okay, well, he doesn't matter anymore. But I think what's helped me is because I say something, and then people remember that, so that when they see me on the lineup saying, oh, Apple Gule's in there, they go, he has that song, because I said something that's memorable. There's certain songs from like, I don't want to say artist names, I don't want to be that guy, but they'll say like a hook. But they'll come like for a year, be hot, don't get it twisted, and then they're gone. And you're like, okay, cool, what happened? Because you didn't say anything.
How did you get to Apple from Apelele?
Oh my word. So before I started this whole singing thing, I used to be like a footballer. And at school, to say Apelele on the field is like, it's so long. So my coach at the time, Mark Webster, who I still like close with today, good mentor of mine when I was a lighter. He can't say this name so fast, like on the field. So he was just like, Apple. And then I don't know how he got to Apple, but then the team just called me Apple, and that stuck from like primary school until now. And I guess it just rolls off the tongue easy. Apple, yeah.
So the Gule is your last album that's out so far.
Yeah, that's where my EP, the latest EP that came out.
Yeah. The passion from that, was it from the introspection, or was it just all around?
Yeah, I think at the time when I wrote Sour, I was like in the midst of COVID, and it was just something I had to release contractually. So even though I'm proud of all the songs, it's something I had to just do it so I can finally move on and then get into that introspection we spoke about of the COVID. So you're right, those songs in Gule are part of that during that COVID time, and also some of them are about my ex, which she knows, and she's probably gonna give me shit about it because her and I are still pretty close. But I'd say probably the one that's probably hits home the hardest in terms of, just a story of where it took me when I wrote it, and like I guess I never knew that I was gonna go there. Was Solace, to be fair, the one that did a cow. And if you listen to those lyrics, I was in a very like lonely, vulnerable place and I won't say it was because of a breakup. It was just a lot of things that happened around that whole breakup. And man, it was like a pit. So I think that's why I also got to that point where I was like, fuck it. You know what I mean? I told you a story earlier. I think that's definitely one. I won't go into too much detail, but it just definitely shows that like you have to feel. You have to feel things, and that song made me feel a lot. And I think that's also, to be fair, why it's lasted as long as it has. It's because and why the guy got a tattoo on his arm, because people don't understand how like important it is to one, have introspection. Because at that point I was like a super like fucking, you know, walls up kind of guy, and then I broke down my own walls and wrote that song. And I think it helped a lot of people in their lives, either one go through something like that, or maybe break down their own walls. And yeah, I think that's probably the deepest one to date that I've written. And then also there's another song that was actually on Swazi Kid called Let My Love. And I think that one is so broad because it talks about just don't be a sour person to like love. You know what I mean? Make sure that you've been heartbroken in life before, but don't let now that heartbreak stop a potentially great thing happening in the future.
Okay, well, basically the last thing that I just wanted to know, fuck the cameras, behind the spotlight, behind the stage, when you're home, what do you do? Who's Apple without the soul, but what you do for hobbies, what you do for fun when it's not singing?
You know, I'd say like a lot of people always say, and it's quite a cliche saying, they say, if you do what you love, you're never working your day in your life. But you know, like at the end of the day, let's not be naive here. This is, end of the day, like, yeah, it's my vocation, and it's my job, and I love it, and it's my passion. But yeah, it is, you can't make it everything. And I think one of the coolest things I've learned is that you have to get away. So for me, that is luckily I can go home to Swaziland, and it could be something as simple as gardening. It could be something as simple as going to my uncle's game reserve. And by the way, I'm a game ranger. By the way, I'll go back home, and I love going to Kruger Park or Slavi Sands or whatever. That's my thing, like nature. I think nature is something that, because we live in Joburg, it almost feels like we're so detached from it, but it's actually just right there. So even if it's, and I'm here in Joburg, walked in the park, and like being able to just embrace what like our surroundings. So yeah, gardening, fucking just walking in the park. If we're talking about a proper hobby, I guess cooking. I cook. That's my thing. I fucking love cooking actually. I'm a chef. Michelin star on the way, boy. Yeah. So yeah, just those things that I can just try and completely make sure that I detach from that emotion of what music is.
Because you also need to get away in order to get some new sparks, some new ideas.
Sam Smith said, too much of a good thing isn't good anymore. So you have to make sure that you just put the handbrakes up sometimes. And that's okay, you have to take a break. I mean, sometimes I literally won't write a song for a month. Only because I know that once I get into that zone again, what I've experienced in that month, oh my God, I'm gonna be writing. And you have to have that. That's how you, I guess, stay inspired.
I'm loving what we've heard so far. It's
Yeah,
great
this
to
has
get
been
to know-
cool.
Yeah,
Thank you.
it's great to get to know the apple, the apelele behind the apple.
You actually said it right. Well done. You pronounced it
Oh,
right.
glad.
There you go.
That's a good one for me. Well, thank you for being here with us, and yeah, kudos for 2024. I'm excited.
Thank you for having me. You guys are the best. By the way, shout out to that. And yeah, man, I cannot wait to see what happens in 2024. Not just for myself, also for you. I think this is an awesome thing you guys are doing. And it can only grow from here, right? So I think
It's gonna be big.
this is going to be something pretty epic for you guys next year. And thank you for making me one of the first. So shout out to that.
Sweet.